Ethan Cole checked his watch for the 10th time in as many minutes. The dial was cracked, a spiderweb fracture over the number 6, but it still ticked away the seconds of his life with merciless precision. 10:15 a.m. He was sitting in his 2016 Ford sedan, a car that smelled faintly of motor oil and the strawberry gummy bears his 6-year-old daughter, Lily, insisted on leaving in a cup holder. The air conditioning had died 2 summers ago, and beads of sweat were tracing paths down Ethan's temple, soaking into the collar of his only good button-down shirt. Ahead of him, the highway was a parking lot. Brake lights stretched out like a river of red magma, shimmering in the heat. "Come on," Ethan whispered, gripping the steering wheel until his knuckles turned white. Not today. Please God, not today. Today was the most important day of Ethan's life. In exactly 4 hours, a judge in Chicago would be reviewing the final custody appeal for Lily. Ethan lived in New Jersey. The flight from Newark was his only bridge to keeping his daughter. His ex-wife, Vanessa, had everything Ethan didn't. She had the high-powered lawyer husband, the pristine suburban house, and the narrative that Ethan, a freelance carpenter who scraped by paycheck to paycheck, was unstable. She didn't care that Ethan was the one who braided Lily's hair every morning. She didn't care that he was the one who taught her to ride a bike or stayed up all night when she had the flu. To Vanessa, and to the courts so far, money equaled love. And Ethan was running a deficit. The traffic report on the radio crackled. Major accident on I-95. A tanker has overturned. Expect delays of up to 3 hours. All lanes closed. Ethan slammed his hand against the dashboard. The plastic rattled. A hollow, sick feeling expanded in his stomach. If he missed the 12:30 p.m. flight, he missed the hearing. If he missed the hearing, Vanessa's lawyer would paint him as absent, unreliable, and negligent. He would lose Lily. He looked around. Drivers were turning off their engines. People were stepping out of their cars, shielding their eyes from the sun, looking defeated. There was no way out. By the time Ethan abandoned his car in the long-term parking lot and sprinted to the check-in counter, his shirt was clinging to his back, and his breath came in ragged gasps. "I'm sorry, sir," the gate agent said. Her voice was kind but robotic, the voice of someone who delivered bad news for a living. "The gate for Flight 492 closed 10 minutes ago. The plane is pushed back." "You don't understand," Ethan pleaded, leaning over the counter. He knew he looked desperate, a man in a cheap suit with work-rough hands and wild eyes. "My daughter. I have to be in Chicago by 3 p.m. I have to. The next flight with available seats isn't until 7 p.m. tonight," she said, typing something into her computer without looking up. 7 p.m. It might as well have been next year. By 7 p.m., the gavel would have fallen. The papers would be signed. "I'll take a standby ticket," Ethan said, his voice breaking. "Anything. I can put you on the list, Mr. Cole. But it's a full flight." Ethan took the boarding pass she printed out. He walked away from the counter, his legs feeling like lead. He found a row of empty seats near the floor-to-ceiling windows of Terminal C and collapsed. He pulled out his phone. He had 3 missed texts from his lawyer. "Where are you?" "Ethan, the judge is strict on punctuality. If you aren't here, I can't stop them." Ethan didn't reply. He couldn't. He stared out at the tarmac, watching planes lift off one by one, steel birds carrying people to their futures, while he remained grounded in the wreckage of his own. He put his head in his hands. He didn't cry. Single dads didn't get the luxury of crying in public. It made people uncomfortable. It made them look weak. Instead, he just breathed through the tightness in his chest, the sensation like a giant fist squeezing his heart. The terminal was noisy, a cacophony of rolling suitcases, crying babies, and announcements. But inside Ethan's head, there was only a deafening silence, the silence of a child's room that would no longer be occupied. That was when he noticed her. She was sitting on the floor near a vending machine, tucked into a blind spot between the rows of seats. She didn't look like the other travelers. She wasn't scrolling through a phone or reading a Kindle. She was sitting with her knees pulled to her chest, her arms wrapped tightly around her legs. She was young, maybe late 20s. She wore a heavy, oversized army green jacket that looked dirty at the cuffs, and loose jeans that were fraying at the hems. Her hair, a dark chestnut color, was pulled back in a messy bun, strands escaping to frame a face that was smudged with what looked like soot or dirt. She looked homeless. In an airport, where a bottle of water cost $5, She looked like a glitch in the Matrix. Ethan watched as a businessman in a sharp navy suit walked past her, deliberately angling his body away as if poverty were contagious. A mother pulled her child closer. The woman in the corner didn't react. She just stared at a spot on the tiled floor, her eyes wide and glassy. Ethan looked away. Not my problem, he told himself. I'm losing my daughter. I can't save anyone. But the image of her stuck. There was something about her posture, not aggressive, not drugged, just shattered. It was the same way Ethan felt on the inside. He sighed, reaching into his pocket. He had $40 in cash. It was his lunch money and cab fare for Chicago. But he wasn't going to Chicago anymore. He stood up and walked over. He moved slowly, trying not to startle her. Miss. She didn't move. Miss, he said again, softer this time. She looked up. Ethan paused. Her eyes were striking, a piercing, intelligent hazel. But they were red-rimmed, surrounded by dark circles of exhaustion. Despite the dirt on her cheek and the ragged clothes, there was a dignity in her face that surprised him. I don't have any change, she said. Her voice was raspy, dry. I'm not asking for change, Ethan said. He held out a $20 bill. You look like you could use a warm meal. There's a food court around the corner. She stared at the money. Then she looked at Ethan's shoes, scuffed work boots he'd polished but couldn't hide the wear on, and up to his frayed collar. She saw him. She saw that he wasn't a rich philanthropist. She saw that $20 meant something to him. Why, she asked. Because I'm having the worst day of my life, Ethan said honestly. And you look like you are too. Maybe if one of us catches a break, the universe will balance out. She hesitated, then reached out. But she didn't take the money. She grabbed his wrist. Her hand was ice cold. Ethan froze, instinctively wanting to pull away, but the look in her eyes stopped him. It was raw desperation. I don't need food, she whispered. I need a car. Ethan stared at her. What? I need a car, she repeated, her grip tightening. I need to get to Philadelphia. Right now. Please. Ethan laughed, a short, dry sound devoid of humor. Lady, I'm stuck here because my car is parked 5 miles away, and I missed a flight to save my custody rights. I can't help you. Please, she said. She wasn't begging in the way panhandlers did. She was commanding him, pleading with him, treating him like an equal. I have to get there. It's life or death. I know how that sounds. I know I look crazy. But I swear to you, if I don't get there in 2 hours, everything ends. Ethan looked into her eyes. He saw the same panic he felt when he thought about Lily. Philadelphia is 2 hours away, Ethan said. You'd never make it back in time for... Well, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm not going anywhere. You have a car here, she asked sharply. In the long-term lot. But lend it to me. No. Ethan pulled his hand back. That's insane. I don't know you. You could be on drugs. You could steal it. That car is the only thing I own that's worth more than $1,000. It's how I get to job sites. It's how I drive my daughter to school. I won't steal it, she said. She stood up. She was taller than she looked sitting down. I will bring it back. I promise you. I just need to get there, do one thing, and I will drive it straight back to you. Why don't you rent one? I lost my wallet. My ID. Everything. I was mugged. She touched the side of her head, wincing. Police. No police, she said quickly. Please. Look at me. Ethan looked. He was a man who worked with his hands. He knew the difference between cheap materials and quality hidden under dirt. He looked at her urgency. It wasn't the erratic urgency of an addict. It was the focused, terrifying urgency of a mother bear. What's your name? Ethan asked. Sophia. Sophia, I'm Ethan. If I give you my car and you don't come back, I'm ruined. I'm already losing my kid today. If I lose my car, I lose my job. I lose my apartment. I will come back, Sophia said. She didn't offer collateral. She didn't offer a sob story. She just offered her word. You're a father, Ethan. You're losing your child. Custody hearing. Chicago. Missed the flight? Then, she said softly. You know what you would do to save someone you love? You would ask a stranger for a miracle. Ethan looked at the departure board. Flight 492, departed. His life, as he planned it, was over. He was stuck in this limbo. He thought about the kind of man he wanted Lily to know. Did he want her to know a father who was bitter and suspicious? Or a father who, even when he had nothing left, still tried to help? It was the stupidest thing he had ever done. It was reckless. It was illogical. Ethan reached into his pocket and pulled out his keys. The keychain was a faded plastic picture of a unicorn Lily had made him for Father's Day. "It's a gray Ford Focus," Ethan said, his voice trembling slightly. "Section C, row 42. It has a bad starter, so you have to turn the key twice. The gas is half full." Sophia stared at the keys dangling in the air. For a second, her mask of composure cracked and her lip quivered. She took them. Her fingers brushed hers cold, his calloused and warm. "Thank you," she whispered. "You have no idea what you just did." "Be back by 8 p.m., Ethan said gruffly, turning away so he wouldn't see her leave. "That's when I'm giving up and going home." "I promise," she said. And then she was gone. The hours that followed were a blur of misery. Ethan sat in the plastic chair until his back ached. He drank stale coffee. He texted his lawyer, explaining the situation. "Lawyer, this is bad, Ethan. Vanessa's team is having a field day. They're saying you're unstable and that you didn't prioritize the hearing. I asked for a continuance, but the judge is annoyed." Ethan put the phone away. He felt like he was drowning in dry land. Around 4 p.m., he walked to the window overlooking the parking lot. He couldn't see his car from here, but he stared in the general direction. "She's not coming back," a voice in his head whispered. "You're an idiot, Ethan. You let a pretty face and a sad story con you out of your car. Now you'll have to take the bus home to an empty apartment." He thought about Vanessa. She would laugh if she knew. "This is why you're a loser, Ethan," she would say. "You make decisions based on feelings, not facts." Maybe she was right. He went to the bathroom and splashed cold water on his face. He looked at his reflection. Dark circles, stubble, cheap suit. He looked like a man the world was done with. He went back to his seat. He watched families reunite at the arrivals gate. He saw fathers hugging their daughters, spinning them around. A lump formed in his throat so large it felt like it would choke him. 6 p.m. passed. 7 p.m. passed. The terminal began to quiet down. The janitorial staff started their rounds, the rhythmic swish of mops providing a soundtrack to Ethan's growing despair. He checked his phone. 7:45 p.m. "She stole it," he said aloud. The person sitting 2 seats away shifted uncomfortably. Ethan stood up. He felt heavy, hollowed out. He had lost Lily. He had lost his car. He was going to walk out of here with less than nothing. He began to walk toward the exit, his feet dragging. He would have to report it stolen. He would have to deal with the police. He would have to explain to his boss why he couldn't haul his tools tomorrow. He reached the sliding glass doors of the terminal entrance. The night air was humid and thick. He looked toward the pickup lane. Taxis, Ubers, private cars. And there, idling at the curb, was a gray Ford Focus. Ethan stopped. His heart hammered against his ribs. The car was there. It was running. He ran toward it. The driver's side door opened, but it wasn't Sophia who stepped out. It was a man in a black chauffeur's uniform. Ethan slowed down, confused. That's my car." The chauffeur looked at him. "Are you Mr. Ethan Cole?" "Yeah." "Where is the woman?" "Sophia? Ms. Sterling asked me to return this to you," the chauffeur said politely. He held out the keys. The unicorn keychain dangled familiar and safe. "Ms. Sterling." Ethan took the keys. "Where is she?" "She had urgent business to attend to. But she instructed me to ensure the vehicle was returned to you with a full tank of gas and to give you this." The chauffeur handed him a thick, cream-colored envelope. Ethan took it. "I don't understand. She also asked me to convey her deepest gratitude. She said you saved her life today." The chauffeur nodded once, then turned and walked toward a sleek black limousine idling 3 cars back. He got in and drove away. Ethan stood on the curb, bewildered. He looked at his car. It was washed. It sparkled under the street lamps. The dent in the fender wasn't fixed. Miracles didn't go that far. But the car looked better than it had in years. He got in. The interior smelled of expensive leather and vanilla, masking the old motor oil smell. On the passenger seat, there was a small box and the envelope. Ethan tore open the envelope. Inside was a handwritten note on heavy cardstock. Dear Ethan, you saw me when no one else did. You trusted me when you had every reason not to. Today, because of your car, I made it to the hospital in Philadelphia just in time to say goodbye to my grandfather before he passed. I also made it in time to stop my family's company from being signed over to people who would have destroyed his legacy. I know you missed your flight. I know what was at stake. I cannot replace the time you lost, but I hope I can help you fight for the future. Please accept this. It's not charity. It's an investment in a good man. Sophia. Ethan opened the small box. Inside was a business card with a direct number and a gold lapel pin with a stylized S logo. And underneath the pin, a check. Ethan looked at the number. He blinked. He looked again. It was for $50,000. Ethan sat in the driver's seat, the noise of the airport fading away. $50,000. It was more than he made in a year. It was enough for a new lawyer. A shark of a lawyer. It was enough to fix his apartment. Enough to secure Lily's future. He gripped the steering wheel and finally, for the first time that day, he let the tears fall. 2 weeks later, the courtroom in Chicago smelled of floor wax and old wood. Vanessa sat at the plaintiff's table, looking radiant in a white suit. Her lawyer, a man with teeth too white and a suit too shiny, was smiling confidently. Ethan sat at the defendant's table. But he wasn't alone. Next to him sat Marcus Thorne, one of the most feared family law attorneys in the state. Thorne didn't smile. He looked like a pit bull waiting to be unleashed. Your Honor, Vanessa's lawyer began, standing up. Mr. Cole missed the previous mediation. He is financially unstable. He lives in a one-bedroom apartment in a bad neighborhood. He simply cannot provide the stability that Lily needs. The judge looked at Ethan. Mr. Cole, your absence last time was noted. Do you have anything to say? Marcus Thorne stood up. Your Honor, my client missed the previous hearing due to a well-documented traffic incident, during which he assisted a stranded traveler. A sworn affidavit regarding his character has been submitted to the court. Character doesn't buy groceries, Vanessa's lawyer scoffed. The fact remains, he is a freelance laborer. Actually, Thorne interrupted smoothly. Mr. Cole is now the director of fleet maintenance for Sterling Logistics, New Jersey branch. Vanessa froze. Her lawyer blinked. Sterling Logistics? That's a Fortune 500 company. Indeed, Thorne said, sliding a contract across the table to the judge. Mr. Cole was headhunted for his expertise in mechanics and his exceptional crisis management skills. His starting salary is substantial. He has also moved into a 3-bedroom townhome in a school district rated 10 out of 10. Ethan kept his face neutral, but inside, his heart was soaring. Sophia hadn't just given him money. 3 days after the airport, she had shown up at his door. She wasn't the homeless woman anymore. She was Sophia Sterling, heiress to one of the largest shipping empires in the country. She had seen his work, the way he kept his old car running, the care he took with his tools, and she offered him a job. Not a handout. A job he was qualified for, but had never been given a chance to interview for because of his lack of a college degree. The judge reviewed the papers. Her eyebrows went up. Well, the judge said, it seems the financial disparity argument is no longer valid. Vanessa turned to look at Ethan. Her mask of superiority slipped, revealing confusion and fear. Ethan. How? Ethan looked at her. He didn't feel the anger he thought he would. He just felt calm. I just drove the right car, Van, he said softly. The custody ruling was a joint agreement. 50-50 custody. No primary parent. Ethan got Lily for 2 weeks a month and every summer. It was a victory. 6 months later, Ethan was working in a massive hangar of Sterling Logistics. He wore a clean blue jumpsuit with his name stitched on the chest. He was directing a team of mechanics working on a fleet of delivery trucks. Boss, someone here to see you, one of the mechanics yelled. Ethan wiped his grease-stained hands on a rag and turned around. Sophia was standing by the bay doors. She was wearing a tailored gray business suit, looking every inch the CEO. But her hair was in a loose bun, just like that day at the airport. Ms. Sterling, Ethan said, nodding respectfully. Checking on the assets. Checking on the investment, she corrected, smiling. She walked over to him. The noise of the workshop seemed to fade. How is Lily? She's great. She loves the new house. She wants to know if the nice lady is ever coming for dinner. Sophia's smile softened. I like that. I actually came to ask you something, Ethan. Shoot. My personal car. It's making a funny noise. I was wondering if I could trust a mechanic to take a look at it. But it has to be someone I trust with my life. Ethan chuckled. He tossed the rag onto the workbench. I think I can make time in my schedule, he said. Good, she said. She stepped closer, invading his personal space in the best way possible. Because I have a gala tonight. And I need a date. And I hate the men in my social circle. They don't know how to fix things. They only know how to replace them. Ethan looked at her. He saw the woman in the airport corner, shivering and desperate. He saw the powerful CEO. And he saw the connection that had bridged the gap between their two worlds. I don't have a tuxedo, Ethan said. I know, Sophia grinned. I bought you one. It's in the car. What kind of car? A Ford Focus, she laughed. Just kidding. It's a Bentley. But you can drive. Ethan smiled, a real unburdened smile that reached his eyes. I'll drive, but only if I get to pick the music. Deal. As they walked out of the hangar together, into the bright sunlight of the afternoon, Ethan realized that he hadn't just given her a key that day. He had unlocked his own life. He was no longer just the struggling single dad. He was Ethan Cole, a father, a provider, and the man who saved the queen.